Hey, what's up, dude? It's Joshy J. So let's get into talking about the details versus the bigger picture. So I'm going to try and draw a parallel between the details and the bigger picture of the things that might occur in your life and the things that might occur in your art career. So I do art for a living. I do concept art for video games for a living. So that is my passion. So that's every single thing that I learn, I kind of draw the parallel between the thing that fits my destiny best, which just so happens to be concept art. But a lot of this stuff, I think you can apply to most things that you do in your life. Whatever it might be, if you're like a carpenter or a psychologist or any other jobs that people have, whatever they might be. So when you're getting into painting and you're looking at the details, it can often be that you get blinded by the details, if you get blinded by the bigger picture. But essentially what you're doing is you're studying the details of things so that the bigger picture can sort itself out. So so say for example, I want to build a city. That's often what I get tasked to do, is a lot of environment design type of things. And say I want to build a city and I need to know exactly what this city looks like. So I'm looking at like the different shapes that are on the buildings. I'm looking at the patterns, I'm looking at the doors, I'm looking at the light fittings, I'm looking at how everything is piecing together. And I'm actually zooming in when I'm studying these different types of things. I'm zooming in and I'm looking at all the nitty-gritty details, and I'm just absorbing all of this information just so I can get a clear picture of what this type of world looks like. And then with all that information in my head, I zoom way out, and when I'm painting the picture, I never zoom so far in to the point that I'm rendering every little detail. It is a personal way of doing art, and I think a lot of concept art, you need to be able to do that kind of thing, where you can zoom very far out and you can see the bigger picture for what it is. But in order to be able to do that, you need to have gone through the details. And I think you can apply this to a lot of things. The understanding part comes hand in hand with the part of figuring out the details in whatever type of situation you might find yourself in. Whether it's a complicated situation, when you understand something for what it is, you kind of feel like you have some sort of control over it, or some sort of peace with what it is. So you're able to let go of the things that you think might go wrong, because you already understand what it is. So going back to how the details affect the bigger picture. So when I'm painting and I've zoomed out and I am now articulating this world through my visual communication, I already understand the way all of these things interact with each other and the way they piece together. So I'm taking all of that information and I'm trying to portray it in a bigger picture scheme. So the part of going through the details allows me to let the thing come together on its own without too much control. So I know I say before that like you feel like you have control, but it's almost like a catch-22, because when you really feel like you understand it, you don't need to put so much effort to try and control all of these type of things to make it like pinpoint exactly perfect, because you already understand the details, and whatever comes out of you is kind of like innate to you. I remember I said this like it was a while ago, or I read a quote that said, if you do something technically well, or you understand something technically well, then whatever comes out in terms of that is basically linked with your style. And I thought that was a really, really good quote. So another one that I had in line with that is a quote that I actually heard from Naval. I listen to a lot of philosophers, and a lot of the stuff that they talk about, a lot of it I can apply to my own artistic journey. And he was saying, like, I think he referenced the quote, and he was saying to be impatient with your actions, but to be patient with your outcome. And basically what he's saying is like, to be able to articulate something and understand something, you want to be really impatient with your actions. So you want to go out and do it straight away and not wait for too long. So for example, with me, with this YouTube channel is, if I waited too long to be able to try all of these ideas that I had, it would never really happen. That's what inspiration is for. But if I expect things to turn out perfectly from the get-go, that's mostly an illusion. So I want to be extremely patient with my outcome in whatever it may be. So in whatever your guys' desired outcome may be, you want to still be able to be patient with it, but still be impatient with your actions. So another thing that I was talking about in line with this was like understanding what the worst outcome might be and what the best outcome might be. And it's not that you are almost, it's like you kind of know what the worst might be, just so that you can understand that what you're doing, if the worst does happen, it wouldn't really affect your plans anyway. I hope that made sense. Alrighty, so I'm just going to jump into a time lapse here of some of the sprites that I created for Reset Earth. So Reset Earth is the game that myself and my team made. I'm actually recording this in December, so Merry Christmas, guys. But yeah, I'm just going to try and use this time lapse to illustrate some things about details versus bigger picture as well. So yeah, if you haven't already checked out the game, I'll leave the link in the description. It's called Reset Earth. You can get it on the App Store, it's free. So yeah, these are some of the sprites that I created. There's 3 characters you'll see in the game that you need to interchange between the 3 characters to be able to finish the game. Like each have different attributes, like unique attributes that you need. But when I was creating these, I had to think about bigger picture, is because like the game is going to be played on a mobile screen, so it's going to be played from quite far away. So the viewers won't necessarily zoom in and see the full details of the characters. But when they're playing it, they're just going to see the general overallness of the characters. So I got a 3D guide from the 3D team that built the series, the animated series, 3-part animated series, and I kind of took that and I tried to like maneuver it and morph it into a way that felt stylistically accurate to the game, but also so that it was really readable. That's the main thing when you're looking at bigger pictures, that you really want it to be readable. A lot of stylistic artwork is also just focused on like, it needs to be readable, you know what I mean? So it needs to be like, you need to be able to immediately notice what it is. So I needed to distinguish between Terrence, Sagan, and Knox. They needed to feel different. So that's what I'm doing. So when I was doing this, I kind of just got the silhouette right. So there were certain things about each characters that made them unique, and that's actually a big part when you're thinking about detail and bigger pictures, is that like there's certain things that make the characters feel unique and that makes the world feel unique, and you really want to hone in on that and like hammer down on that. And once you've got that in place, you kind of have a lot of free reign, a lot of creative free reign to make do with it. You know what I mean? You have a lot of creativity once you have the overall impact down. And when you think about impact, bigger picture stuff is mainly linked to impact. So when something is from a bigger picture view, it has a higher impact. When you start off from a bigger picture view, you can ensure that you're getting the impact. These sprites were actually very cool to create. A lot of the shading, I actually realized, like with this guy Terran, this is Sagan. With Sagan, I actually went really detailed, and eventually I realized, like with the other ones, I didn't need to go that detailed. One thing I did do that looks really cool from a far way out, I noticed a lot of games do this, is they position like 2 light sources. So you'll notice with Sagan, even like all the characters, they have this orange light coming from the back that's like creeping around, and then from the front is just like a normal kind of a diffuse type of a light. And it just makes the characters look a lot more 3D, and they have a lot more interest because there's a lot more color variety in it. And that creates a lot of interest when you have like color variety So I really wanted to, like if you had to zoom in to these characters, the orange lighting is quite drastic because I really needed it to kind of show when the characters were on screen on the mobile phone. So I had to really think about the bigger picture when I was designing these sprites. Interesting thing, I think a lot of indie companies don't do it this way, but we found out a really rad system for creating sprites where we put all of so like we had to obviously separate them out into the different components, like their arm, their forearm, their bicep, their upper leg, head, whatever, so we could animate them. And then the one guy on my team figured out a really rad way in After Effects. If you guys know After Effects, it's a vector-based system. And we just kind of, we built each sprite in the exact same place as the previous document, so that we could just relink the files to be able to so basically we animated one sequence and then we relinked the different files because they were in the exact same place to be able to maneuver them. I hope that made sense. I'll probably do another in-depth tutorial on, or a bit more in-depth on After Effects and how we did some of the sprites. But you'll see, like with these as well, I added an effect called, it's a stroke effect that goes around each of the little elements, and it's like this black line that goes around it, and that's actually really handy for silhouetting the character out and silhouetting the different pieces out. So yeah, that was one of the good techniques that I had with referencing like bigger picture type things. So yeah, dudes, that was some of the these were the sprites that you guys are gonna see in the game Reset Earth. Go give it a download and give it a play. I'd love to know what you guys think. I really enjoyed creating these characters, and I think when you're thinking about details versus bigger picture, it's important to have both in mind. When designing things like this, you have the bigger picture coming first and then the details coming later. But yeah, otherwise, if you guys like my channel, feel free to share it with your friends or to comment or anything that you like. And if you would like any specific content, I'd love to hear what you guys think. Otherwise, hit a subscribe and I will check you guys in the next one. Cheers.